I read in a forum that they are the worst.
Tragedy on the water.
They are dock queens, not blue water
They are
yachts.
underpowered, and motors are too small. I wouldn't put to sea one.
Bayliners are binliners.
Hunter yachts have gone into receivership.
Blah, blah, blah.
I wouldn't take one even if they paid me.
G'day guys, John and Jock here for Bayliner Marine. And what?
Balo, not Bayliner. Do not lower the tone of the channel. You know the reputation this bloke's got.
Really? You think that while we're sitting in a marina on a hunter, on a dock queen, if you will?
Apparently that's where they belong.
Well,
in the marina.
You can't take it anywhere else, can you? It's not even safe to go out into a river.
Anyway, it's Bayliner Marine here. Today we're going to talk about the disparaging comments that Bayliner and Hunter, they've both got really bad reputations. Not amongst people that own them though, just amongst other people. Whether that's jealousy or not, we're just going to try to explore that a little bit.
It's definitely jealousy.
I think so, mate. No owners have complained about them.
Well, you know what time it is then.
Hit it. Psych up. Faster now.
Oh yeah, copyright. Yay! Alright guys, so obviously I just bought a Bayliner, and before I bought it I did a lot of research on it and I found a lot of negative comments about Bayliners, and I didn't know whether to take it just as people being jealous, whether it was true, so I've done a bit of research on the Bayliners to find out the truth behind them.
Alright, well, I've heard a few things. I'm going to bring them up.
Yep.
You can, refute them or, fair enough.
Yep.
And I understand, of course, all boats are compromised to something. I know they are definitely recognised as good value for money,
Yep.
Anyway, I've heard that they're really badly underpowered.
Okay, so my boat, I certainly don't think it's underpowered. It's got a 5.7 litre V8. Yeah, it flies. That sort of comes down to in the 80s and early 90s when they brought out the Bayliners that had the Force outboard motors on them, and I'm not sure if they had the inboards as well that were underpowered, but they were made to be a cheap, affordable entry-level boat, and so they made them cheaper by not putting a big motor on the back, basically.
Are they an American motor?
Yeah, so that was more an American thing because Bayliner is American.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they were underpowered. Some still are, because if you get an entry-level boat, well, that's what you're getting. And that's why it's cheaper.
Saves on weight and everything as well.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
For sure. And, all right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. People say a lot of cheap materials, involved in the boat. It's not the high end, best grade of everything. And
Yeah, so look, they have been guilty of using cheap materials, and there is a big difference between cheap materials and inexpensive materials. They were guilty of using very cheap materials. They weren't made to last, and that's one of the gripes. But again, when you're buying these cheaper entry-level boats, if someone wants a cheap boat, it's not going to last as long as an expensive boat. That's just the way it is.
That's fair enough. Now, it's typically fiberglass will be some sort of sandwich construction, whether that's marine ply or foam or Clegacell or something like this. The Bayliners, I've heard, it's a very poor plywood core. Yeah, now the core has been known to be poor quality again, so they used the cheapest materials, and there were issues with that, but I think that also comes down to a bit of a maintenance thing as well. Like if you know that there's something wrong, you do need to fix it, and that works across all boats. Yeah. So if you start to realise that the core is rotting and
you're starting to get spongy floors or stringers or anything, well, then you've got two options. You either fix it or you leave it, you put up with it, and then you know that eventually it's going to fail.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
So to keep water out of those areas, that's the main priority.
Yeah, they also used to say that if you looked under the dash, there'd be exposed timber under there. There's all sorts of different stories and things, but it all comes down to maintenance. If you know that there's something like that, well, then I guess you have to do something about it. And I don't believe that that's still going on today.
Yeah.
It may be, but from my experience and my research, no, I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, there's so many new materials out too now, different foams and high-tech sort of composites and that. I suppose that's not really an issue now.
No.
All right, I'm going to keep going here. All right, I'm not hammering you personally. Don't take it like it is, but a lot of things they say, like the cleats and the seats, they're just screwed in, not bolted.
Now, I have heard this one, and I think it's true. I'm actually on my new Bayliner, I'm missing a cleat, and from what I could see from the other one, it is just screwed on. Now that, to me, that's not great, and when I replace that cleat, I will be using through bolts with a backing plate to make sure it lasts longer.
Sure.
And I guess these are some of the things that they do to cut the price down. If they don't cut the price down, then all of a sudden they lose that spot on the market, entry-level boats, things like that.
That's true, yeah. Opportunity for buyers too to do their own aftermarket sort of little projects and that. I suppose.
Well, we know we love a project boat, or at least I do.
Now it's a petrol engine in the saltwater, really.
Well, now this is one of the things that I completely disagree with. They say that a Bayliner should never be put in salt water. These are some of the comments I read. I was reading a comment on a forum where the guy said that he had this Bayliner for 15 years and it was all well and good, but he had it in a freshwater lake. He took it into salt water. That year, the Bayliner was finished.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I mean, my Bayliner is a 2002 model and it has been in salt water its whole life, as far as I've been told. So, and it's still going. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So I disagree with the salt water thing. I think that's just people that are trying to badmouth Bayliners.
Yeah. The bottom line is, they are a cheap boat. It's not a Bertram, it's not a Grady White, but it's also not $800,000 and it's 20 years old. Yeah,
so that's exactly right. You get what you pay for. If you want to buy an expensive boat, great, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy the boat that I've got and enjoy that. And when it comes time to get a new boat, you know what? I won't be sitting there trying to get my money back because I didn't spend that much money on it.
Yeah. All boats require upkeep and maintenance, and you may as well start at a lower base.
Well, that's right. And I think that is one of the biggest problems with Bayliners. They are aimed at people with no boating experience.
Yeah.
With no boating experience means that you don't know what maintenance needs to be done. So you don't do the maintenance.
The boats are neglected, which is not a reflection on the boats, maybe on the owners, but I can't say that I've ever met anyone that's had one and bagged it.
Yep.
Most people that have them, like them or have had them, and most people have had one sort of thing, they're hugely selling boat. There's millions of them around.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure how true this fact is now, but I'm pretty sure Bayliner have sold more boats than any other boating brand in the world.
I think we spoke about that, yeah.
So, there you go. If that's true, well, that's huge. And that means that, yeah, most people would have had a Bayliner, been on a Bayliner, have some experience with a Bayliner. So if it's getting people out on the water, great. That's what we want.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool.
All right. Well, that wraps up the Bayliner side of things, but how about those hunters? I mean, I'm here sitting here on a hunter right now in a marina.
Scary.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few waves coming through, even though it's perfectly flat. Does this boat normally rock this much? Because the others aren't.
No, of course not. It's not. It's dancing.
It's dancing. So, what do you think? You've had this hunter for how many years now?
About 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. So, what do you think of the whole, they're just a dock queen, or, you know, they can't leave the marina? They shouldn't leave the marina.
Yeah, dangerous. Look, a lot of people say that. You hear them bashed a lot. Them and the poor old McGregors, you know, we're the two main whipping boys. But look, it's always a compromise. You know, the boat could be 8 feet wide and 40 feet long. It'd be pretty quick in that, you know, but it's not. It's 14 feet wide. It's got a ton of room. You know, they're big volume. They're cheap. You know, there's so many berths and, you know, modern inside, you know, with lasting sort of, you know, features that haven't, you know, dated with time and that. Look, we're sitting in the cockpit now. You know, 13 people can sit in this cockpit. You know, if there's any sort of gathering going on down here at the marina, this is where it happens here. It doesn't happen in, you know, 4-person centre cockpit. You know, might be a Sparkman and Stevens or something like this, but it's not going anywhere anyway. You know, I use the boat every day, and yeah, I'll defend it. I like the boat.
So you don't think that it's just a marina condominium?
No, not at all. Look, it's here. It was built in America, and here it is in Balmain. So it got here somehow. Yeah, they're all over the world.
Yeah, well, that's true. So some of the other things I've heard about them, you know, the whole plastic fantastic. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, this is all getting a bit dated now, you know, because virtually all boats are plastic. You know, they had a bad name, and there was the Beneteaus and the Genoes and the Bavarias. They all sort of, you know, fell into that, you know, lower sort of Tupperware type of, you know, pop-out boat. But, you know, you can take this boat anywhere, and there'll be some bloke in a village there that knows how to work fiberglass, you know. So, you know, like bottom of Kilimanjaro, because I do a lot of sailing there around the mountains. Yeah, they love the fiberglass there.
Yeah, all right. So, tell me this. Is this boat safe to go offshore?
Well, yeah. Am I safe? I don't know. You know, most boats will last way longer than the captain, you know, so, you know, that's the nut holding the wheel, I think, is a very important part. But they say they're not safe offshore because they are wide and that, so they bob around a bit like corks. Downstairs is so spacious, there's not your little segregated areas, your handholds and everywhere, you know, and you wedge yourself into the galley to cook, you know, in that last cyclone, you know, when I was making my, you know, roast beef dinner, like, as if, you know, who's cooking at sea? Like, not a lot of people really.
I do get hungry pretty easily, so, but.
Sandwiches.
Oh.
Cup of soup.
Okay. That sounds dangerous, cup of soup.
Oh, that's true.
But, I mean, you've taken me offshore in this, and the only scary part of it was that you were at the helm. So, yeah, I think that is pretty ridiculous saying that you can't go offshore. I'm sure you want to pick your conditions, but that goes for everyone that's going offshore, doesn't it?
That's right. And they're category 1 rated, you know, so someone that's setting the standards, you know, feels they've passed them all. The complaints about, not just hunters, you know, the fin keels, you know, oh, they'll fall off, they don't track well, blah, 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 blah. But, they're much faster and this boat is a Hunter Legend, which is like the Beneteau first sort of series. It is a much faster boat. Stacks the sail area, really tall aspect rig. The fractional rig, a lot of people don't like that, but once again, as many boats have it now as don't have it. It's a proven sort of race winner, and and a good combination of sails.
So, overall, do you think that the negative comments and the names that hunters get, do you think that it's fair, or do you think that it's probably more just jealousy, like it is with the Bayliners, for sure?
I think it's jealousy. It has been pointed out that, say a Hunter 36, that'll have more room, more space, more storage than, a different sort of boat, 6, 7, 8 feet longer, a 42 or something. This boat has got so much room, and it's light, it's got really good tankage. It can go anywhere, it got here from the States, so, I'm pretty happy with it. And the people complaining about them are the people, I think, that have paid quite a bit more money for a boat that hasn't got half the bells and whistles. And, let's face it, sailing is, it's not even 1/10 of 1% of the time I spend on the boat. This all might change in the future, but even the hardened cruisers and that, most of the time is spent at anchor or on the hook somewhere, floating around, enjoying the boat.
Well, that's what we should all be doing. So I think that this idea of, people are always going to find something that they're going to want to hate on. They're going to, there's always going to be negative comments thrown around. But I think the important part is find the boat that suits you and enjoy it.
That's right. Use the boat, and the more you use it, the cheaper it is, I reckon.
A bad day on the boat always beats a good day at work, especially because I have to work with you.
You should see you. I have to work.
I heard he's a good bloke. So, well, guys, I think that pretty much wraps up the talk of, the hate for Bayliners, the hate for hunters. The hunters probably deserve it a bit more than the Bayliners, but look, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to enjoy our boats, and we buy the boat that suits us. So, don't worry about what anyone else has. Just worry about what you've got.
Too right. That's right. Look within, not without.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess now's my favourite part. So, please, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment.
Notifications on, please.
You just ruined my speech.
Start again. It's important.
Okay. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all sorts of things, because Bayliners are better than hunters. And turn notifications on.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. See you in the next video. I didn't realise you pushed.